The biodome was silent the way grief is silent, not empty, but heavy. Inside its curved glass walls, 1,000 alien plants breathed softly in the humidity, their bioluminescent petals pulsing like slow heartbeats. The air smelled of something between rain and starlight, and the pale blue glow from the floor moss made everything look like the bottom of a dream. Marcus Hale stepped through the iron airlock door with mud still on his boots and an object cupped carefully in both hands. He had traveled 11 months and 17 days across 3 solar systems for this moment. He hadn't slept properly in weeks. He was not a diplomat. He was not a scientist. He was a botanist, the kind of man who talked to plants because he understood that living things communicated in ways words could never fully carry. The guards had warned him before he entered. She hasn't spoken in 8 months. Not since the Queen died. Don't expect anything. Don't push her. Don't touch her. And for the love of every star in this galaxy, do not bring gifts. She refuses everything. Marcus had nodded respectfully. Then he had walked in carrying a gift anyway. Lyra sat at the far end of the dome, half hidden beneath the arching roots of a silver-barked tree that the locals called a velan, a tree that, legend said, only grew where someone had once cried. She was small for a princess. She was small for anything, really. Her mint-green skin caught the ambient light and scattered it softly across the mossy floor around her. She was staring at nothing, or at everything, the kind of stare that had stopped trying to find something to land on. She heard him before she saw him. The sound of boots. Careful boots. Slow. Not the marching kind. She didn't look up. Marcus stopped about 4 feet away from her. Close enough to be real. Far enough to be safe. He lowered himself to the ground, not kneeling, not bowing, just sitting, cross-legged, the way he used to sit in university gardens when he needed to think. He said nothing. He simply opened his hands. The flower rested in his palms like a held breath. It was called a selenara, a ghost flower native to the ice moons of the outer belt. It had no pigment of its own. Instead, its petals were made entirely of crystallized light fibers, thin as spider silk, that caught surrounding energy and returned it as gold. In the dim dome, it glowed warm and amber, like a tiny second sun someone had forgotten to put away. Lyra's eyes moved. It was the first time they had moved toward something in 8 months. She did not reach out. She just looked. Her violet eyes tracked the flower the way a child tracks a firefly, with wonder that hasn't yet decided if it's real. Marcus still said nothing. He breathed slowly. He let the flower do the talking. A full minute passed. Then Lyra spoke. Her voice was barely above a whisper, roughened by long silence, but it was there, small and real and devastating in its quietness. My mother had one of those. Marcus didn't react dramatically. He didn't gasp. He didn't smile too wide. He simply said, "I know." Her eyes finally came to his face. For a long moment she studied him, his stubbled jaw, his careful hands, the way he wasn't afraid of her silence. Most people were afraid of her silence. They tried to fill it with noise and pity and questions she couldn't answer. This man had brought something instead of words. Something living. Something glowing. "Where did you find it?" she asked. "Moon 7 of the Selvari Belt," Marcus said. 3 months of searching. I almost didn't get there in time. Selenara blooms only last 42 hours after separation from the root. Lyra's brow furrowed slightly. You traveled 3 months for a flower that only lives 42 hours. 41 now, Marcus said, glancing at the bloom. So we shouldn't waste too much time. Something shifted in Lyra's face. It wasn't quite a smile. It was what lives just before a smile, the moment when the body remembers it knew how, once. Why? She asked. The real question. The deep one. Why would you do that? Marcus thought about the honest answer, which was the only kind he knew how to give. Because your mother sent word to our research station 14 months ago. She'd read our botanical reports and she wrote, in her own hand, that her daughter loved the Selenara. That Lyra had once spent an entire afternoon trying to count the light threads in a single petal. He paused. She said it was 4,847. She was 7 years old. The silence that followed was different from all the silences before it. This one had weight, but not the crushing kind. The kind that means something important is settling. 4,902, Lyra whispered. I miscounted the first time. Marcus smiled. Slowly. The kind of smile that doesn't ask for anything back. Your mother knew you'd need beauty before you'd need anything else, he said. She was right. Lyra reached out then, finally, and touched the edge of one crystalline petal with a single fingertip. The flower responded immediately, the way Selenara always do. It glowed brighter at the point of contact, as though the touch itself were a form of light. Lyra inhaled sharply. It remembers warmth, she said, her voice breaking open just slightly at the edges. All living things do, said Marcus. She looked at him again, and this time her violet eyes were full. Not crying, not yet, but full. The way a sky gets full before it finally, mercifully, rains. She's really gone, isn't she? Lyra said. It wasn't quite a question. Yes, Marcus said. He didn't soften it or dress it up. She is. But she sent you anyway. She sent the idea of me. I just showed up. Lyra held the flower now, both small green hands cupped around Marcus's, neither of them pulling away. The golden light pulsed gently between their fingers, casting soft patterns across the ancient roots of the Velan tree. Will you stay? She asked. Just until it stops glowing. 40 hours and 53 minutes, Marcus said. I'm not going anywhere. And for the first time in 8 months, in the silence of a dome full of breathing plants and memorolite, the alien princess did not feel alone. Outside, the galaxy turned. Inside, a flower glowed gold. And somewhere between grief and hope, a small girl with violet eyes began, slowly, carefully, like the first petal of a Selenara opening, to speak again.